All right, if you've ever had to manage a server, you know the feeling. That cold sweat when you're SSHing into production, you type Crontab E, and you're just staring at this wall of cryptic asterisks, praying you don't break something. Well, today, we are waving goodbye to all of that. We're going to master the incredibly elegant Laravel scheduler.
Okay, just look at this, because this slide says it all, right? On the left, that's the chaos we all used to live with. A separate, confusing cron entry for every single little thing. Backups, reports, email cleanups. It was brittle. It was a total nightmare to maintain. And then, look at the right. That's the Laravel way. One, single, beautiful line. All your scheduling logic now lives where it belongs, inside your application code, safe and sound under version control. It is a total game changer.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, it's all built around this idea of the one cron solution. You can kind of think of it as the one cron to rule them all. You set up one single instruction on your server, and Laravel, it takes care of everything else. Now, let's break down what's happening under the hood, because the architecture is just beautifully simple. First up, the trigger. Your server's cron daemon pings your Laravel app exactly once every minute. Then, step 2, the command. That ping just runs PHP artisan schedule run. That's it. Third, evaluation. Laravel wakes up, it looks at the schedule you've defined in your code, and it asks itself, hey, is anything due to run right now? And finally, step 4, execution. If the answer is yes, Laravel intelligently fires off only the tasks that are due. It's so efficient.
This is it. This is literally the one and only line you will ever need to touch on your server for scheduling. You see it right there. You set your 5 asterisks, cd into your project, and run schedule run. So you just type crontab-e in your terminal, paste this line in, of course, making sure to replace the placeholder with your actual project path, and you are done. Seriously, you can forget about manually editing cron files on your server ever again.
So, with that one-time server setup out of the way, we can get to the fun part, defining our tasks right inside our Laravel application. This is where all the power and, honestly, the readability really comes into play. Just a quick little heads up on where you're going to put your code. If you're on the latest and greatest Laravel 11, you'll be working in your routes/console.php file. For anybody on Laravel 10 or an older version, you'll find that schedule method waiting for you inside app/console/kernel.php.
Now, there are a few ways you can define tasks, but honestly, the most common way is just scheduling an artisan command you've already built. I mean, look at this example. It literally reads like plain English. You're not trying to figure out what 013 times means. It's just obvious. Run the email send command daily at 1 p.m. So clean. But what if you have a really simple task that doesn't really need a whole artisan command file? Well, that's where closures are absolutely perfect. You can use schedule.call, just like you see here, and pass your logic right into a function. Then you just chain on the frequency you want, like .weekly. It is ideal for those quick, simple jobs, like maybe cleaning up some old records in a database table. And this is where it gets really slick. This shows how beautifully the scheduler integrates with the rest of the framework. If you have a task that might take a long time, like generating a massive report, you can just schedule a queue job directly. The scheduler simply pushes the job onto your queue at the right time, in this case, monthly, and then your dedicated queue workers can handle all that heavy lifting in the background.
Okay, so we've already seen a few of these frequency methods, like dailyAt and weekly. But Laravel gives you this whole toolbox of super expressive options. So let's look at the cheat sheet for getting your timing absolutely perfect. Now, this is one of those slides you're probably going to want to screenshot. Just look at how clear all of this is. You've got every minute, hourly, daily at 1300. You can even chain things together, like saying you want something to run only on Fridays. It turns what used to be complex scheduling logic into a sentence that you can actually read out loud. It is so much more maintainable than a block of asterisks. Okay, so we know how to define tasks, we know how to set their frequency, but running code in production, well, that requires another level of thinking. So let's dig into some pro-level tricks to make your automated tasks truly robust and reliable.
This one is huge. Imagine you have a task that's supposed to run every single minute, but for some reason, one time it takes 90 seconds to complete. Without this, the scheduler would try to start a second instance of that task before the first one is even finished. By just adding dot without overlapping it, you completely prevent that race condition. It is an absolute lifesaver.
And if your application runs on multiple servers behind a load balancer, this is absolutely essential. Let's say you schedule a weekly report to be emailed out.
Without on one server, every single one of your servers would try to generate and send that report. Your users would get multiple emails. By adding this one little method, Laravel makes sure the task only ever runs on a single server, preventing all that duplicate work.
This is where the scheduler starts to feel really smart. Using the @when method, you can add your own application-level logic to decide if a task should even run at all. So for example, you could check if the company is in maintenance mode before trying to run a backup. The task will only execute if that condition returns true. So powerful.
You know, automated tasks are great until they fail silently in the middle of the night. That's why monitoring is so critical. With methods like these, you can log a task's output to a file for debugging, and even more importantly, have Laravel automatically email you that output only if the task fails. It's built-in peace of mind.
And before we wrap up, here's a fantastic pro tip that makes testing all of this an absolute breeze. You don't need to set up cron on your local machine. Just pop open your terminal, run PHP artisan schedule work, and Laravel will just sit there and fire off your scheduled tasks at the correct time, just like it would in production. It is perfect for development and debugging.
So, with all of this power and this simplicity right at your fingertips, it really just leaves one last question. What's the first tedious task in your project that you are going to automate away with the scheduler? Go give it a try. I think you'll be amazed at how much time you save. Thanks for tuning in.